Good day, this is Teacher Cyrus and we will discuss about actual questions of professional education. So last September 2019. So the first question, the spiral progression approach in teaching math in K-12 curriculum means that you both teach math concept from kindergarten to grade 10 in increasing depth and width across the grades. This means that math teaching is blank. A. Developmentally appropriate, B. Inquiry-based, C. Inclusive, or D. Integrated. So letter B, kapag sasabihin natin inquiry-based, it talks about problem solving or problem-based learning. But the question did it talks about problem solving. So that's why B is not the answer. Letter C, if we will say inclusive education is education for all. But the question talks about mathematics. That's why inclusive is not the correct answer. And letter D also, integrated, is not also the correct answer. Wala nang iba. The correct answer is letter A, developmentally appropriate. Number 2, implementations means putting into practice the experience which has been written in all except blank. A. Internet resource sites, B. Syllabi, C. Course online, or letter D. Curriculum guide. Kapag sasabihin nating internet resource sites, it talks about the information, legit or fake information. We will find it can be found in internet. Kapag sasabihin nating internet resource sites, it's not all about practice or experience, but it talks also about proper ways of, so it talks about tips that to be done by a certain person. Letter B, syllabi. So if we will say syllabi, it focuses about the teachers or professor's implementation of his way of teaching. Syllabi and lesson plan is the same, but they do differ in ways or its format. So letter C, course online. Kapag sasabihin nating syllabi, so we'll get back to letter B. Kapag sasabihin nating syllabi, so it talks about teachers, anong gustong gagawin ng teacher during his or her class. So that is syllabi. Kapag sasabihin natin course online, so it talks about online teaching. Alam naman natin, if we will have course online, we will have classes online. So there are tips or competencies that will be used in order na ma-experience sa isang estudyante ang learning. If we will say D, curriculum guide. So curriculum guide, as we all know that learning competency is very important. At saka ang curriculum guide also gives teachers ways on how to implement or how at kung ano ang gagamiting objectives to be aron upang ma-fit ito sa discussion ni teacher or sa topic na i-discuss ni teacher. So sa A, B, C, or D, letter A is an exemption. Why it is considered an exemption? Kapag sasabihin natin internet resource sites, so it is not all about putting learning into practice, but walang implementation kasi sa internet resource site. Kapag sasabihin natin internet resource sites, it is just a way to have information na pwede natin gagamitin sa ating discussion. So unlike na letter B, letter C, at saka ni letter D, so they are made for it to be implemented so during sa klase. That's why letter A is the correct answer. Number 3, the teacher published the following researchers, books, materials, manuals, and other instructional aid. The question number 3, It talks about si teacher na gumagawa ng research, libro, materials, and manuals na gagamitin sa instructional aid. Ano kaya ang tawag ni teacher kapag siya ay magpapublish? A. Planner, B. Writer, C. Innovator, D. Evaluator. Alam naman natin na wala nang ibang sagot. The correct answer is letter B, writer. Number 4, a student got a numerical grade of 80. What is his description for his level of proficiency? A. Did not meet expectation. B. Fairly satisfactory. C. Satisfactory. Or letter D. Very satisfactory. So, wala nang ibang sagot. The correct answer is satisfactory. Kapag sasabihin kasi natin did not meet expectation, so those students who got 74 below. Kapag sasabihin naman natin fairly satisfactory, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 75 to 79, satisfactory 80 up, and also very satisfactory 90 up. So the correct answer is letter C, satisfactory. Question number 5. How are institutions of learning encouraged to set higher standards over and above the minimum requirement for state recognition? A. Scholastic achievement. B. Faculty development. C. Academic freedom. Or letter D. Voluntary accreditation. So, ang tanong kasi dito, paano natin malalaman if the institutions are setting higher standards of learning over the minimum requirement for state recognition? So, the correct answer is voluntary accreditation. So, kasi all institutions are obliged or dapat nilang masuri. So, through accreditation, if the level of, kasi through voluntary accreditation, the state or CHED and CHEA will give, so bibigyan kasi sila ng label. So if we will say, for example, of public voluntary accreditation, it will give quality standards sa education. So kaya the correct answer is letter D. Kasi if we will say scholastic achievement, so what are the achievements of the school? Kapag sasabihin naman nating B, faculty development, so it talks about the system of the school. And C, academic freedom, yes, all peoples are given freedom in terms of academics, but they should follow the law, and meron ring limitations sa sinasabing academic freedom. So that's why voluntary accreditation is the correct answer, because through accreditation, so the schools are labeled. So if they are really meeting the higher standards na ibinigay sa CHED. So based sa standards of education sa ating bansa. Number 6, if you are afraid to be different from the rest, even if you are convinced that you are right, makes you far from being A, existentialist, B, utilitarianism, C, pragmatist, or letter D, rationalist. Kapag sasabihin nating existentialist, you are responsible agent. So kung ano man ang iyong piniling strand or track sa K-12, for example, we'll talk about K-12. If you are a completer, you are given a chance to choose kung anong track ang gusto mong kunin. So you choose, you are given a freedom to choose kung anong track ang gusto mo. But you choose a certain strand na kasi hindi mo yun pinili dahil gusto mo yun, but yun ang pinili ng iyong kaibigan. So you are not forced, but that is your own will. Dahil gusto mong kaklase pa rin, kaklase mo pa rin yung classmates mo or friends mo during junior high school. So you choose other tracks na hindi labag sa iyong kalooban, but you choose it so because of your friends. So that is existentialist example. So walang there's no one to be blamed if you choose not the right track, but you can blame, so ikaw lang ang may blame sa iyong choose kasi you are given a freedom kung ano ang pipiliin mo. So that is existentialist. Kapag sasabihin natin utilitarianism, it is a sort of education na focus sa basic needs ng isang tao. The best example of utilitarianism is home economics. So we are trained about sa basic na trabaho sa bahay, which is also very helpful in our daily living. So that is utilitarianism. Letter C, pragmatist. So, pragmatist is the same as experimentalism. We will reflect the society, emphasizing sa kailangan ng isang bata. So pragmatist, the proponent of pragmatism is John Dewey. And letter D is rationalist. So alam naman natin what is rationalist from the word rational. So the correct answer is existentialism. Kasi sa tanong, the person, ang subject sa question is given his or her right kung ano ang pipiliin niyang. Number 7, which of the following processes usually comes first in developing curriculum? A. Selection of educational content. B. Evaluating educational experiences. C. Identifying learning goals and objectives. Or letter D. Organization of learning experiences. The correct answer is letter C. Identifying learning goals and objectives. So sa span ng identifying learning goals and objectives, so sa letter C, it focuses sa ano ang topic kasi that is part of learning goals at saka objectives. So the key salve, so that is the first one kasi hindi tayo makagagawa ng plan kung ano ang gusto nating gawin during classes, anong gusto nating i-integrate ng students. So that's why letter C is the first one. So we should identify learning goals and objective first, so before selecting educational content. Kapag sasabihin natin selection of educational content, it talks about kung ano ang gagamitin nating source. So during our discussion, reliable source. For example, kukuha tayo ng part sa book kasi that is one of example of reliable source. And then if you want to be more resourceful, so you will browse on reliable websites in the internet upang marami kang source during your discussion, which means if you are abundant in educational content, so you are also abundant in sharing learnings to your students. So that is number 2, selection of educational content. Number 3 is organization of learning experiences. So that's why in that time you are making activities. So kung ano ang iyong gustong gawin upang ma-experience ng isang bata ang learning. So through activities, malalaman natin yan. We can arrange them based sa paggawa natin ng lesson plan. And then the last one is evaluating educational experiences. So alam naman natin that evaluation is the last one, the last part of our developing curriculum or curriculum planning. So that's why letter C is the correct answer. Number 8, when a school believes the curriculum should highly focus on math, science, and other fundamental intellectual disciplines, the school believes in the curriculum views of blank. A. John Dewey. B. Hollis Caswell. C. Arthur Bestor. C. Philip Phoenix. Kapag sasabihin natin si John Dewey, John Dewey is proponent of learning through experience or pragmatism. Hollis Caswell is that learning must experience what they learn. So the true learning daw is you can experience it. So kung ano ang iyong natutunan, you can experience it. That is Hollis Caswell. Si John Dewey, learning through experience, you can learn if you will have actualization about sa diniscuss na learning. So while si Hollis Caswell, learning must experience what they learn. So dapat may experience daw ng isang bata ang learning. So same as John Dewey. The correct answer is Arthur Bistor. So he is the proponent of the curriculum should highly focus on math, science, and other fundamental intellectual disciplines. Number 9, once the grading period is done and all grades are recorded, to whom the teacher will present the grades. So saan i-present ang grades? A, principal, B, registrar, C, parent, or letter D, students. So the correct answer is students. Kasi that is students' grades kasi. So but many times now, so kadalasan is ipatatawag ang parent if there's problem, so for the students to notice. But the student itself knows about the anong kalagayan ng kanyang grade, kasi if there's problem with his or her grade, the teacher will approach the said student na ipatatawag ang kanyang parents to fix the said problem. So kaya students is the correct answer. Number 10, Mr. Cruz is evaluating a website for his literature class. He is making sure that factual pieces of information found on the site are well documented and pictures and diagrams are properly labeled. He is also checking that there are no misspelled words or grammatical errors. Which criterion is he learning on? A, clarity, B, appropriateness, C, accuracy, D, motivation. The correct answer is accuracy. So from the word itself, making sure. So kapag sasabihin natin clarity, so it talks about dapat ang information is simple so that it can be easily understood by the reader. If we will say appropriateness, so it means that dapat ang resource or informations are appropriate or naaayon sa isang topic. So kapag sasabihin nating motivation, so it talks about motivating students to learn. So that's why accuracy is the correct answer. I do hope that you learn about this discussion.